Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to the Rangers Rabble Women's Show. It's Monday night, 6:30. That's what we do on Monday night at 6:30. Brian's having a well-earned evening off because he's done an awful lot of podcasting in the last few days. I think he's been on it more than Martin, and it's Martin's baby. And I'm joined tonight by a full cast other than Brian. So we've got Car. Car, how are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. Did Emily enjoy herself yesterday? You had your partner at her first game yesterday? Did she have fun?
She seemed to enjoy it. She didn't really know what was going on, to be fair to her, but I'll get her talk, don't worry.
Good. We also joined by John Inman. Alan. Sorry, that's a chat earlier.
How are you all doing?
You well?
Yeah, good. Busy day, but productive. So, happy to be able to sit down and chill for a little bit.
Good. And finishing off the panel, what's that wee lassie's name again? Oh, Debbie. Debbie, how are you?
I'm a wee bit stressed with uni, but apart from that, I'm all right.
You not got that essay written yet?
No. Oh,
okay.
Halfway there.
But you've still got time to come on a daft podcast. Anyway, we're here to talk about the Rangers ladies team. Yeah, Paul, we'll get to that later. So we'll just start that for just now, Paul. Get to that in a bit. Good evening to everybody watching. Evening to everybody in the comments, which at the moment's only Paul, but I'm sure that'll pick up. Obviously, as it says in the title of the pod, a nap hand at Hampden. For those not as old as me, a nap hand means we scored 5 goals. Because Debbie's wondering what's a nap hand.
I put it in the context of the game and knew exactly what it meant.
Okay, good. Okay, so quite a number of changes. This is where it all goes peak down because I'm doing the Brian bit and I'm reading out the team, so this can get silly. So the team yesterday was Vic Heston in goal, and I'm just going to read it the way the Rangers have listed it. It's not in any particular order. Vic Heston in goal, Nick Dock, Laura Rafferty, Tess Medag, Rio Hardy, Jane Ross, Mia McCauley, Elizabeth Arnott, Kirsty McLean, Katie Wilkinson, and May Croft. Car, as I say, a number of changes. We were saying at the game, I don't think we really expected so many changes.
No, I thought it'd be some rotation, but I didn't quite foresee May starting. I thought maybe she'd get some minutes, but I didn't think she'd start. I did say I wanted Tess back in, but I wanted her in the midfield, not in the back line. But I guess it's rotation and we can rest some players because it's Aberdeen, but it didn't work as well as we maybe thought it would.
No, Alan, not the greatest game of football I'll ever see, but semi-finals aren't about being pretty. They're just about getting results, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And, we did expect a wee bit of rotation. It's probably a last chance. Really, we're going to see much rotation. Maybe see a wee bit on Sunday against Marlow. But I'd have preferred to start a bit stronger, get players used to being back on grass, given it at Ibrox on Wednesday. But it was a chance for players to come in and dust off some cobwebs. As much as Jane and May haven't been playing a great deal, we might need them contributing in the next 6 games. So it's good to see him get some minutes.
Yeah, that was the thing. We were all saying before it, 2 games in a row on grass. So having a semi-final against a team we should take care of fairly easily, because Aberdeen obviously bottom 6. Last time we played them, we stuck 10 past them. Was a chance for a bit of rotation, but it was also a chance for the players to get used to playing on grass before the Glasgow City game on Wednesday, which we'll get to later. And then Joe goes and hits us with so many changes.
Yeah, I can't say I'm too surprised. Obviously you want the players to get used to the grass pitch, but the downside of that is the pitch is a lot bigger. So, you can't really expect players to play 2 70, 80, 90-minute games on there and, sort of the space of 3 days. So I can't say I'm too shocked that she made that many changes, just given the size of both the pitches at Hampden and Ibrox.
Yeah, which are both, of course, exactly the same size, although they don't look at just with the dimensions of the stadiums, but the pitches are actually the same size. But your point's right. Carl, Debbie makes a good point there that the pitch both at Hampden and Ibrox was massive compared to what they're used to playing on at Broadwood and at the Oriam and at Meadowbank and places like that.
Yeah, I think that does benefit us though if we use the wingers well. And I think we kind of did that yesterday. We just couldn't find the back of the net when the balls were coming into the box. But it probably does help us going into Wednesday having that experience. And hopefully the pitch is watered a bit better than Hampden was yesterday so they don't all get stuck in it and slide all over the place.
Yeah, it was a bit like a skating rink. There was a player struggling to keep their feet. I don't know whether that was because I believe it was raining in Glasgow in the morning. I don't know whether it was the rain, whether they overwatered it, because obviously there was a game on it the day before, so obviously it did look in good condition considering there was a game on it the day before. But Alan, the game started and we got off to almost the perfect start. 8 minutes in, and he plays the ball to me and Macaulay, sticks it across to Jane, and it's 1-0 Rangers. And effectively against Aberdeen, the only chance they've got is they have to score first. So we've scored first. We even think then 8 minutes in should be job done.
Yeah, it was a slow start to the game generally, but scoring in the first inside 10 minutes was really encouraging, and it should settle on nerves. Like you said, I think if Aberdeen had the chance, they had to score first. I think the best part about the goal was Kirsten McLean's ball right through the channel, right down to Mia, who has put a ball across and laid it on a plate for Jane Ross. Jane Ross doesn't miss chances like that, and it's a great start for her. She doesn't make so many starts these days, so she'll be delighted to be on the score sheet first.
Yeah, she will. And Demi, not a lot else happened in the first leg. You just about got in time for the goal because you were obviously upholding the Presbyterian work ethic and not letting football get in the way of your work. You turned up a few minutes late, but you got in time for that first goal, and really not a lot else happened until just before half time when this time Jane's the provider and we made it 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, you had literally, I think you hadn't even finished your sentence of saying, "Come on, Rangers, another one before the half will do." I don't even think you'd said the word "do," and the ball was in the back of the net. So, like you were saying, sort of perfect time to score a goal. Double the lead before you go in for half time, make a boring first half that bit more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you didn't pick up the mantle and tell us who scored it. Obviously, Rio put it in after Jane had put her through. But Cara, what the hell's the goalkeeper doing?
I mean, she's being brave. I suppose she's coming out to make the challenge and potentially stop a goal, but it makes it very easy for them to just slide the ball across to Rio, who just puts it in the back of the net. But I mean, I don't even know if they're part-time, are they, Aberdeen? It's essentially part-time amateur goalkeeper versus professional players, so she's going to make mistakes. It's just a bit crazy to do that. You'd be better running back towards goal and hoping you can do something there, but it probably still would have been a goal either way.
Yeah,
I think if you back to the Sky Sports Cup final last year, and you saw quite a similar goal, Ava Easton came charging out a goal. And I think that's down to them being used to playing on artificial turf, because a long ball like that is going to bounce and run far more on an artificial park. We see it all the time. The long balls are overhit, and as soon as they bounce, they're gone. But they'll hold up a wee bit more on grass. And I thought, particularly yesterday, that the ball was holding up a lot on the grass, and I think that's probably just got to keep her out a wee bit. But another absolutely brilliant ball by Kirsten McLean, right through and over Aberdeen defence, cut him off.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, Demi, back to you while we're still on this goal. I mean, it was one of Aberdeen's very rare attacks the first half, and it was. I said to you at the time, it was classic counter-attacking football for me. We just got the ball, great ball through for Minnie, and Jane lays it on a plate to Rio when the goalkeeper's coming out doing whatever the hell it was the goalkeeper was doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like as I think it was Alan said, great ball for Minnie. Sort of if you're gonna be playing sort of attacking players like, well, in this instance Innie, but if you're going to be playing like Innie and Wilco sort of deeper than normal, that's what you've got to use them for, sort of that attacking, like sort of what am I trying to say? I can't think. Counter attack. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there. And if you're trying to, make that counter attack, you've got to make the most of having those attacking players in sort of more defensive positions. And I think that goal shows that we're capable of doing that.
Yeah, I just want to clear up this thing in the chat between Gaz and Ian. Yeah, Gaz, Ruth, I actually went to school with Ruth. She's a year older than me. I grew up in the same town, that same village as her. So Ian, it's a friend, not a fan. But she's a handy person to know. She works on the train. She's a handy person. She's a handy person to know sometimes. So yeah, back to the football. That puts us in, Alan, 2-0 at half time. Three changes start the second half just to freshen the team up a bit. Jodie McCleary comes on for Rio Hardy, making the 100th appearance. We'll get to that. Chelsea comes on for Innie, and Brogan comes on for Wilco.
a few changes, and it meant some players playing in unfamiliar positions. We saw Mayor McCullough play through the middle with Jane Ross for a second half. You know, Brogan came on, played wide right. Jodie came on, played on the left, but Chelsea just took over from what Kirsten McLean was doing. Just played the tempo in the middle. You know, supported young Maycroft, who had an excellent game. And it was really good to see a 15-year-old play 90 minutes for us at Hampden. You know, absolutely brilliant to see. So we wanted to see the tempo maybe pick up with 3 changes. Obviously managing the minutes ahead of a 3-game week, but the tempo never really seemed to change a great deal. And we didn't really take advantage of the fact that Aberdeen was starting to tire in that second half.
Yep, Carl will jump onto Brian's point just now. He's maybe having the night off, but he's still watching us. What a trooper he is. He thought Maycroft did well. Looks to have a cultured left foot. You've probably seen more of May than most of us through the time. So he's right. She had a bloody good game yesterday.
She did, and like to her credit, it's only her second start for us, and only like her 3rd game that she's actually played minutes for. But obviously, getting called up for the England under-17 squad a couple of times now, obviously on the eye of whatever their manager is. She's got a bright future ahead of her. I've not seen that much of her, to be honest, because she hasn't really played that much, and I never really saw her at the academy games because she would have been too young at that point for the 16s. But I mean, if she puts on a little bit of weight, and I don't like saying that about players, but she is quite nimble, to be polite about it. She's very thin, so she kind of gets knocked about a little bit, but that might play to her advantage because she's got quite good pace about her. She's not scared to get stuck in. There's a moment where Aberdeen broke and she gets back to defend the ball and stop potential goal from happening.
Yeah, Debbie's laughing because she knows what comes next. She's built like the Gable end of a fiver. Really. But she will. She's only 15. She will naturally just bulk up. You know what I mean? Because she is only 15 years old. I mean, I want to see a 15-year-old play at that level, as you say, for 90 minutes. I mean, just absolutely tremendous. Absolutely tremendous.
Absolutely brilliant. And we spoke about it when we done the podcast for a supporters group that she lost her footing a few times in the first half. You know, and a young player can just retreat into her shell a wee bit when that happens, you know, maybe getting pushed off the ball a bit, you know, losing her footing, but she was always brave. She always wanted to go and look for the ball, and she was always prepared to take it, even under pressure. You know, she was calm enough to hold on to the ball under pressure, turn out and turn into space and look to make a pass. She's quite keen to make forward passes as well, and not just make a safe pass, so really encouraging to see. Sometimes when we've seen her play, she's quite keen to take a shot on. We didn't see that yesterday, but I think everything else in May's game was really encouraging.
Yep, Demi, while we're talking about teenagers, and it's incredible to say that a teenager just made her 100th appearance for Rangers. But Jodie McCleary came off the bench at half-time, as we say, and 100th appearance for the club. Just that's incredible for a 19-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, she said it herself in her interview yesterday, you know, she sort of never ever expected to be doing it at 19. But obviously, you know, it just shows the sort of talent that we've got coming through the academy because, you know, so she's not the only one playing regular football now. And like she said yesterday, hopefully there's 100 more to come. Or hopefully, like Joe says, there's 1,000 more to come. But yeah, it's always good to see, you know, it just shows that since, you know, a young age, she's been keen to get into the squad. And obviously, as a Rangers player and a Scotland player, you know, making 100 appearances at 19 and doing it at Hampden, special day all round.
Yeah, but as Alan said elsewhere, she made her 100th appearance at Hampden, and because Rangers tend to hand out signed jerseys for that, she'll probably get presented with that at Ibrox on Wednesday night, which would be very nice for her as a Rangers fan. That would be tremendous. I mean, it would be a great honour. But Carl, moving into the second half, 6 or 7 minutes into the second half, Nick Dock gets involved in the game, gives the ball to Brogan, who sticks the ball across to Jane, and it's 3-0.
I think that was our memo for the game yesterday. Just play long balls over the top and you'll find someone, because it's basically all our goals came from that. So nice for Nick to get involved. I mean, it's a fairly straightforward goal for Jane, but she's still got that in her locker. We've ran the clock back with her getting as many goals as she did, but just good bit of football, which we didn't do a lot of yesterday, to be honest. We didn't play that much good stuff, but some nice passing. I don't know if Brogan knew much about it, but bounces off of her and goes towards Jane's. Can't ask for much more, and we're cruising at that point.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it came off Brogan. I'm not even sure it actually came. I think it might have come off a defender. I'm not even sure it hit Brogan, but we'll give her the assist for it anyway, Alan. And then shortly thereafter, Leah Eddy replaces Nick Dock. That's obviously with a night saving Nick's aging legs. Sorry, Nicky. Sorry, Nicky, if you're watching. Saving Nick's aging legs for Wednesday and giving Leah a bit of a run out on grass.
Yeah, I think if Nick happens to catch her, she might have a word or two she wants to have with you for that. But
I'm sure her dad will have a word about
it. I think it is sensible that we're managing the minutes. As we said at the start, if Aberdeen had a chance and they had to score first and take the lead, at 3-0, we're making the last their subs and just keeping players fresh, getting some grass under their feet and just letting everybody get a rest where possible. Nick's played a lot of football this year, so she'll be quite happy with the rest. What I thought was quite nice that it was Jane that took the captaincy. Usually the players on the park, it would have been Chelsea that would have took the captaincy, but Jane has started and she's been the one to take the armband. And even when Cathy came on, she kept it. You could see a moment when Cathy came on, Jane came over and then was told obviously to keep it, which I quite like to see.
Yeah, that annoys me if somebody comes on who is a captain or a vice captain and takes the armband off the person that's got it. That just winds me up. Just because if you've got the armband on, I mean they pass it around like a Demi, close your ears, they pass it around like a second-hand scud book sometimes, you know what I mean? They use an old balance. Sorry, Carl, I couldn't think of a better way of putting that. But we put too much store into the captain's armband as it is, I think. But to me, if the captain's on, they keep the armband, irrespective of who the sub is, unless they get subbed off, and then they give it to one person and they keep it, and that's it. But Demi, I said to you, I was surprised that Jane got the armband. You didn't seem too surprised, but it was nice to see Jane get the armband, as Alan says.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't actually realised that, sort of it is normally Chelsea when Cathy's not there. But, like I said to you, in my head, normally after Cathy, it was Jane, but obviously I was wrong. So that's why I wasn't too shocked, because in my head, if Jane was on the park and Cathy wasn't, she was getting it. So, but I'll just shut up because that's a lie. So.
Yeah, so obviously we'll stick with you. Obviously, we've talked about Cathy coming on, 74th minute, Cathy comes on for Raf. Demi, were you surprised it was Raf that went off and not Tess?
I mean,
yes. Did it really matter?
I mean, yes, but no, sort of, I think everyone, I can't remember exactly who said it, but there was a few people, sort of saying in the stand yesterday, I think it might have been you, Car, actually. There was a few people saying that, it should have been Tess that's going off, but it was going to be Raf. So, yeah, I mean, I was a bit surprised, I was a bit surprised, but I wasn't, because, Tess hasn't played in a while, like let her get some more minutes, because who knows, when she'll play again. Again, not that it's going to make much difference for 15 minutes, but keep Raf fit for Wednesday night. So I was a bit shocked, but also a bit not surprised.
So, Carl, did you expect it to be Raf? Did you think it might be Tess? Do you think Raf will feature on Wednesday? I mean, Demi should keep it for Wednesday. I'd be surprised if she plays, to be honest.
I'd like her to, but I wouldn't think so. You'd assume it would probably go back to the back four that we've been playing before that game. But I don't. I just
hold that thought. Paul asked this a question for later, but you've touched on it, so we'll hit it right now. Question for later: will we play four at the back on Wednesday against City? We need to keep the back tight. I'm going to throw this to Ollie McCann. You brought it up, so on you go.
I mean, that would be ideal, I think, because then it lets Nick or Leah or whoever's been the wing backs at that point to get higher up the pitch and hopefully create more for us. I don't know, because Joe chops and changes that much, but I'd be incredibly surprised to see Raf in the back line at any point. And if it's Tess, I might just lose my marbles. But Tess didn't have a great game yesterday, and that's why I thought she would go off. But then maybe they were just scared that Raf would get another head injury and have to miss potential games, so they just took her off while she was having a good time.
Alan, to Paul's question.
I'd be very surprised. Joe seemed quite keen to look at the bigger games and go for it back early in the season, but since the turn of the year, she's been very consistent with keeping the three at the back. I think if she was going extra cautious, then you'd maybe see Nick pushed out to one of the wing backs and bring an extra defender in. But I think that's maybe just a left field sort of suggestion. I think we'll go a similar setup. I think we'll go back to this sort of team we probably seen last weekend at Hibs, and hopefully a much better performance, because it's 5 cup finals and then the actual cup final, so we really need to be bang at it, and we need to start the game a lot better than we did yesterday.
Right, Demi, before we go back to yesterday's game, we'll switch out a bit. John, we are asking who starts in goals the remaining game, so let's just even look at Wednesday. Who do you think will start in goal on Wednesday? Is it Vicky Echo? Is it Jenna Fife, or do we throw Telma in?
No, I don't see any way that she's throwing Telma in against Glasgow City at Ibrox. Going back to the last one before I answer that one, she's absolutely got to play 4 at the back. I mean, look at our recent record against the sort of top 5, well, top 6, but against the other teams in the top 6, we don't tend to score that many goals. So, keep it as tight as we can at the back, because obviously the less goals we concede, the less goals we have to score, and that seems to be a bit of a struggle for us at the minute. Honestly, it's Joe, so it could be any of them, but I think it'll be Jenna, but literally there's no reasoning for that. I just think it's going to be Jenna. It's Joe, it could be either of them. It's not Telma.
Right, Cam, we'll get back. We'll finish off yesterday's game before I forget about the last 2 goals. Goal number 4, again, Mia involved again. Lizzie really should score. Keeper actually pulls off a decent save, and Jane just rolls it in for her hat trick. I mean, she'll not score an easier goal at Hampden than that, will she?
No, I don't think so. I mean, Mia does really well to keep hold of the ball and to run into the box with it. Sees Lizzie. I mean, as you say, Lizzie probably should score, but the keeper pulls off a decent save, but basically just rolls it back to Jane Ross on a plate, who just has to kind of hit it off her foot into the back of the net. But always nice for Jane to get a hat-trick at any point, but to be in a cup semi-final at Hampden wearing the armband at that point is probably a special moment for her. So it was nice to see.
And then Alan, 3 minutes from the end of the regulation 90, Jane repays the favour to Lizzie, sticks the ball across Lizzie. That's what she should have done previously. Grabs herself another goal at Hampden in the same end that she put the goal in the cup final last year.
Very similar to Mia's involvement for the previous goal. Jane done really, really well to keep hold of the ball down the other channel. Works her way into the box, pulls it back, sees Lizzie's run, and Lizzie finally scores, because she'd been knocking on the door with a few chances that she should have done better with, and she'll be probably quite disappointed she wasn't on the score sheet by that point. But I think just for sheer perseverance, she probably deserved that goal.
Yeah, I think you're right. So that was it. With surprisingly only 3 minutes of stoppage time. I did. We were sitting saying probably 6 or 7. I said I hope she cuts us a bit of slack. Game's done. Let's just make it a couple of minutes and get the game over, because there's no point in prolonging anybody's agony. It wasn't a great game of football, Demi. I thought I was possibly alone in thinking it wasn't great, but fortunately, from my point of view, Joe came out and said similar. But semi-finals don't need to be good. The important thing is you win the game.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at the score and say, yeah, we won 5-0, but I think the scoreline did flatter our performance an awful lot. Large chunks of the goal, large chunks of the game, sort of with little action. Sort of scoring in the 8th minute and then scoring right before half time. So I don't know if it was the nerves coming from last week or what it was, or if it was all the changes. But yeah, like you say, it doesn't have to be pretty. We're in the final, and that's all that matters.
So on to the final on the 25th. Yeah, 25th of May back at Hampden against Glasgow City, who we play on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, no rest for the wicked, I suppose. They're coming thick and fast. Certainly going to be an interesting game, and hopefully a bit better than previous. Well, the last game against them wasn't bad. but it wasn't great either. So hopefully an improved performance. You'd assume the team will go back to the way it has been before the cup semi-final there. I don't know. It worries me being at Ibrox. I know why they've done it, but it worries me, and I don't think I'll ever get excited about those games at Ibrox until they're over, and then I can enjoy the occasion, because I just hate it. I hate it so much.
Alan, sorry, jumping back to Hampden. Paul's just put in a comment about the game yesterday. Aberdeen player sent off for a late elbow at the back of the head. I'm not sure I remember that. I remember there was a potential handball. Well, there was a definite handball in the first half that should have been a penalty. That's not in the highlights. That for me was a penalty. I don't remember this elbow in the back. I don't know. There's a lot going on. So
I vaguely remember something. It was a foul. I don't think it was enough for a red, but as is typical, I didn't see it in the highlights, so it's hard to get back to it. I thought it was a foul, possibly even worth a booting, but I didn't see anything that I thought that should be seriously looked at.
Yeah, the highlights for all the women's games really are a real problem, because they don't really show you the major incidents. I mean, like say there was an almost stonewall handball. Far as we were all concerned in the first half, doesn't show you. There's that incident, doesn't show you. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. But Alan, coming back to you, Wednesday night. Obviously, as we say, Glasgow City at Ibrox. Firstly, are you surprised we've moved it to Ibrox?
Not really. The only thing I was maybe surprised at was the move to with the 3 games. I think the only reason it didn't move all 3 home games remaining was because we're obviously busy at Ibrox on Sunday. But the good thing about that, people can actually go to both games should they wish. The game on Sunday is a 6 o'clock kickoff on TV. So in terms of Wednesday, we've not beaten Glasgow City in the 2 games we played in before at Ibrox. I think in terms of Paul's points, we go for it and we play all 3. I think we started the season really well with Kirsty Howitt playing in behind Rio Hardy and Katie Wilkinson. I think our work rate, our willingness to get forward, our willingness to take shots from distance, and our link up with both Rio and Katie is really good. I think our best bet, given the fact that we can't keep Wayne's at a close, is that we actually go for it. And I think probably starting all 3 might be the way to go.
Debbie, you think we should start all 3, or would you go 2 of the 3, or would you play one of the 3, maybe stick one out wide, or what would you do with it?
I mean, it very much depends on how Joe's going to play it, because if she's going to play, all 3 of them and have Wilco deeper again, said it before, there's no point in that. Wilco's not the sort of player who can, sort of go and get the ball. She needs to, most of her goals have been scored. The ball's come to her. She takes the shot. So yeah, I agree with Alan. If you're playing all 3, then you've got to have Kirsty Howitt sort of behind them too. So if she's going to put Kirsty behind, then yeah, absolutely go for it. But if she's going to do what she did yesterday and put Wilco deeper, then not a chance. Forget about it.
Yeah, Carl, the other 2 they're buying on. There's no point in having Wilco sitting deep, but in a sort of deep number 10, if you like, or whatever role the kids call it. Because I mean, Kirsty's got the legs and the energy to kind of float about and pick the ball up. Wilco for me is wasted that deep, because she'll win you the ball, but she'll not do anything with it because she's trying to pass it herself and she's not there. Yeah,
and Kirsty's done that a lot this season, especially where she's been playing kind of in behind, and I think she's gotten quite good at it. She likes to score a goal, but she was creating a lot of chances and creating a lot of opportunities for players to score. So if she is going to play those 3, I would prefer that it's Kirsty Howitt in behind. It makes more sense. But then I'd rather Laura Berry play, but that's for the second half. That's not for the start.
Yeah, and obviously, folks, that's Wednesday night at Ibrox, 7:35 kickoff, I believe. Tickets they're about £8, I think. You get an adult and a kid for a tenner. They're doing that deal. Great opportunity to take kids to Ibrox. I know it's a nighttime game when kids have got school in the morning and all that sort of stuff, but it's a great opportunity because it won't be as busy as a men's first team game would be. We say this all the time, just to try and get people in the door. But if you can get along, we'll all be there, God willing. And if you do see us, come up and say hello. And that's the football on the field finished with. Demi, last night we had the much vaunted Rangers Player of the Year awards, which went down like a lead balloon whenever put on social media, as you can probably imagine. It was actually nice to see, certainly from the men's awards point of view, they didn't do them individually, they just tweeted the whole lot at once because they got one lot of abuse rather than loads and loads of abuse. I think people seem to forget that these things are booked like a year in advance and they're going to have them regardless of the season. But anyway, that's my thing. So, as you pointed out to me, the leading goal scorer, which obviously is Katie Wilkinson, that's just an award you get for scoring the most goals, and it's Wilco. The trophy is now known as the Jane Ross Plate. I think it would be nice if they told us that. There you go, Cam didn't even know that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was something I'd missed in sort of, previous years. And then I was looking through Twitter when I woke up this morning because I was asleep before they announced it last night. And I was looking through Twitter this morning and I was like, wait a minute. When it was Instagram, sorry, when they posted them on there. And I was like, the Jane Ross Plate. I thought I'd just been asleep for the past few years and not seen that. But obviously it's rather fitting, that the award ceremony was last night and that's been given out after Jane scores a hat-trick.
Yeah, I mean, it did say on I was reading something on the website earlier, it said the first time they've given it as the Jane Ross, so we haven't missed it. They've just decided that the leading goal scorer is going to be the Jane Ross Plate, but I haven't told anybody.
Yeah, I think an announcement would have been nice to really sell it, because what a legacy she's left, that she's going to be the one that whoever scores the most goals, it's going to be from her, essentially. That's incredible. I hadn't noticed that. Obviously, I just skimmed through, saw who won what, and went about my day, didn't actually look into it much further. But what a legacy she's built. If that's going to be forevermore, hopefully that's going to be the Jane Ross Plate. That's incredible.
Yeah, Alan, do you think that's a well-deserved accolade for Jane?
I think it's a brilliant accolade, and I know that in the women's game there's a lot of things named after players. A lot of the youth leagues are named after various different players, but I certainly hadn't noticed that the top scorer plate for us had been renamed the Jane Ross Plate. I do have a bugbear with seeing that given out before the season ends. I mean, this time there's no doubt it's got to be Katie Wilkinson top goal scorer, but you have 6 games left in the season. Sometimes it can be much tighter, and that's an award that should be handed out at the end of the season. But brilliant to see Jane getting that sort of recognition that's going to be a lasting legacy at the club.
Well, you've got to hope that it's a lasting legacy. They don't just keep it for a couple of years and then move it on. I mean, I know that the men's top goal scorer gets the Sam English Bowl, which was nice. That was something that the Rangers supporters trust for Northern and sorting out. So hopefully the Jane Ross Plate does become a permanent thing and not just there for 2 or 3 years and then they bin it again. The next award up was the Players Player of the Year, Car, and I don't think it's yet to anybody's great surprise that the other players voted for Katie Wilkinson as the Player of the Year.
No, she seems to be I was going to say fan favourite, but a player favourite since she's come in. Seems to have gelled really well. Obviously, scoring as many goals as she had is always going to be helpful. If you're struggling in games and she can pull out hat-tricks left, right and centre. Not so much recently, but start of the season into the middle of the season. It's just incredible what she's done. So I think it is fitting that the players have all voted for her and given her that.
But Debbie, did the players just vote for her because they're all scared of her?
I mean, look, it's not the only one. That is it. The PFA Awards, I think it is. The PFA Awards have got Wilco up for Player of the Season, so it's not just Rangers players who are noticing sort of how well she plays. It's teams from other clubs. So I can't say I'm too surprised that the players voted for her yesterday. Obviously, they can't vote for her in the PFA Awards, but I can't say I'm too surprised.
Yep. And Alan, the young Player of the Year was last season's Player of the Year.
I think it shows that Maya's done really well. Second season, is always really tough for a young player that's broke through. Maya's been in and out the team a wee bit with injury and confidence. I think Maya said herself at times that she couldn't put her finger on why she started the season lacking in confidence, but Maya's worked extremely hard to get back fit and get in the team and contribute. And even being in and out the team, our contribution's been brilliant this season, and I think she's probably played more than any of the other young players. So I think well deserved.
Yeah, I just think, Carl, it's probably the first time I can certainly remember that somebody that won a Player of the Year the previous year was the young Player of the Year the following year. I think that's probably unique.
Yeah, you think it would be the other way around, wouldn't it? That she'd have a great season as being a youth player, although she'll be a youth player for the next 3 years because she's still that young, and then she'd go on to win Player of the Year. But as Alan said, it just shows how, she didn't start the season great, but it's really come on leaps and bounds. In the last couple of seasons, seeing Mia play and flourish, it's just incredible to watch. She's one of our best players. She's right up there for me as being one of our best players. She's such an incredible young talent, and she's got a lot ahead of her. So I think it is fitting, but you think it would be the other way around, go from young player to Player of the Year.
But sticking with you, Karen, it's also very nice that it wasn't one of these young Player of the Years and Player of the Year went to the same person.
Yeah,
because that happens sometimes, and that's I always think that's a waste of an award, really. So the Player of the Year, and I know you're absolutely delighted about this, went to the longest serving player at the club. That's not why she got it, because I think she thoroughly deserves the Player of the Year. Brogan Hay.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the nominees, I kind of just assumed it'll be Wilco or it might be Lev or, but Brogan does deserve it. She absolutely deserves it. She's such an incredible talent. Everyone at the club loves her. She's been here. She's basically part of the furniture and will be here till she retires probably. She really is a fan favourite. Everybody loves her. So for her to win it, I think she has won it previously a couple of seasons ago. So, it just shows the player that Brogan is. She's such an incredible talent. But yeah, I was absolutely made up because I just didn't see it happening. I just assumed that it would be Wilco or one of the other ones that you just assumed. But obviously behind the scenes, Brogan's that loved by everyone that she won it.
And Alan, the one that everybody saw happening, because when I read out the nominations, I only read out this one. The goal of the season was Chelsea's winner at Hamilton against that other lot for the East End.
I think I was the only one that was ever going to win. It was the occasion. It was the fact that she'd been injured for so long. We'd been struggling in big games. It came quite soon after we got back in the new year. We'd obviously had a couple of bad defeats, just before Christmas. So it was a story, the way the game had went, back and forward, and then Chelsea came off the bench, and it's just a brilliant goal. You'd watch it all day long, and especially being against them. So, the fact that it was a winning goal. Sometimes you see these brilliant goals and they don't mean anything because you don't win the game, but that put us in the cup final. Cup final we went on to win. So I think that was the only goal that was even considered.
Yeah, I mean, Demi, Paul saying, Wilco's free kick against them was a peach as well, and he's right, it was. But for me, there's always something extra special in a goal that's not from a dead ball. And Chelsea's it was a terrific goal, as Alan says. She just came off the bench after being out for a long time injured. It was a winning goal in a tight game, and it was an absolute screamer as well. So as good as Wilco's free kicks are, a good free kick's a good free kick, but you're hitting a dead ball. Every professional player should be able to hit a dead ball to some degree. But I mean, that goal that Chelsea got against them that won the goal of the season last night, just an incredible finish.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going on, sort of Wilco's free kicks, there's 4 or 5 you could choose from. So, not only is sort of, are you hitting a dead ball, you've also got 4 or 5 of almost the exact same goal to choose from. So like, what do you have? Do you just have 5 nominations and it's all just Katie Wilkinson free kicks? So yeah, like Alan said, it's also, she came back from being out for so long. It wasn't even just a goal, it was the sort of movement her first touch with the ball prior to the goal as well was really good. So yeah, like you said, there was absolutely no dispute who that award was going to.
No, there was only ever one person in the running for that car, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, the flick of the ball over the defender, the turn and finish on it is just unreal. I mean, you could put that in next year and she'd probably win it again, because I don't know if anyone will score a better goal against them, to be honest. I mean, it might happen and I'll be very happy to be proven wrong, but it's just such an incredible goal from Chelsea. Everyone loves Chelsea. Once she starts scoring, that's it for her, but that's an unbelievable goal. So it was always going to be that goal.
Yeah, and Carl, coming back to you, as we touched on earlier, the PFA nominations came out today, and we've got Wilco nominated for Player of the Year. We've also got a certain young lady nominated for Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, Laura Berry's obviously in there, which it's crazy when you think about it. All the young players that are in the league, it's voted for by the players in the teams in the league. So for her to be nominated when she played half a season at Motherwell and then come back to us and played I don't know, 3 games or something like that, and not even full games at that. It's a testament to how good she is. So obviously I'm buzzing for her and I'm hoping that she wins it. She probably won't with the other players that are in there, just because the likes of Emma Lawton's had, well, I mean, they've not had a good season, but she's had quite a good season. Not that I want to big her up, but I would love it to be Laura Berry and I'd love it to be Katie Wilkinson that both win it and just sweep the board from players across the league, seeing how good we are.
I think Emma Lawton's in the senior one, is she not? I don't think she's in the young one. I think the young one, it's one of the husbands from Hearts, Ailey Adams, Laura Berry, and I'm not sure who else, but I'm pretty sure that Emma Lawton's, could be wrong, I'm pretty sure she's not in the senior one.
Carl's just checking. I don't even know who the nominations are. Alan, are you aware of the other nominations?
I don't remember the fourth nomination for a young player, but the main ones, Katie, Ailey Adams, Emma Lawton and Stephanie van der Heyden, City. I actually think that you might see that double you talk about, young player and senior player of the year. I think Ailey Adams will sweep the board with the award, but I certainly hope it's a Wilkinson and Berry double.
Yeah, see, I think. Sorry, Dave. I think the fact that one of them's nominated in 2 categories, that's just a waste of a nomination for me.
Yeah, I think there's no guarantee, that they'll win either of them or whatever. I know what you mean, but I mean, there's no the standard's sort of different for both of them, so there's no guarantee she'll win both of them. And I was going to say something now, but I can't remember what I was going to say. So
there you go. Sniper bringing you up for outstanding knowledge, and you can't even remember what you're going to say. But anyway, as we said, Wednesday night, just to finish off, Wednesday night, Ibrox 7:35 kickoff live on
BBC Alba.
BBC Alba. We're certainly getting good practice with Gaelic. We're never off BBC Alba just now. It's ridiculous. I mean, the Motherwell game, that'll be an Alba as well, I'd imagine, is it, Alan? You referenced earlier, it's on the telly.
It's on the telly I think it's on BBC Alba again on Sunday night. 6 o'clock kick-off at Broadwood, so plenty of time to get back to Ibrox and get out to Cumbernauld. So,
yep. So, do we think, Alan, that it's going to be? Well, Paul saying it's also on RTV, so I wasn't aware of that.
We've been crying out for that for 3 years for him to get it back on RTV. So, if the club have games on RTV, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, but it really winds me up because they film every game because you get highlights of every game, and we see them. We know they're there. I just don't see why they can't stream them live, because they did it when we were based at the training centre. They played them there they screened them from there all the time. And if you watch the highlights, you see that they've added full commentary to it. Lucy's done a great job on the commentary. So, everything's set up. So, someone I very much hope that the club look to do next season.
Yeah, the problem with that. Sorry, Demo, where you go?
I think next season, we'll see more games go to RTV, because I believe Sky are taking over the rights for the women's games here, so it's not going to be on BBC anymore. Therefore, it's not free to watch. So I can see that, Rangers TV putting games on there, because not everyone has Sky, but everyone has access to BBC or BBC iPlayer if you just click one button to say that you've got a TV license. So I think next season they'll go on RTV.
Which of course we all have, because you don't just click yes and you don't have one. But Alan, I mean, the commentary thing's a good point, but if it's highlights, you can put the commentary in later. The problem I know they had previously were live games. They couldn't always get a commentator, because Tom Miller did it a lot when it was at Auchenhowie.
Yeah.
He did it out of the goodness of his heart, you know what I mean? So they need to try and find like a kind of commentator if they're sure. But there's no even need, if the game's live, you don't necessarily need a commentator. I mean, Hearts screen every game from the Oriam live using an iPhone on a tripod. You know what I mean? That's all. It's one iPod on a tripod. That's what they do.
Yeah, but obviously we've got a decent sized media team, and Lewis Walker's there and doing the commentary. He's at all the women's games. Yeah. It's very rare that she's not one of the women's games where he's working at a men's games. So he's there and a more capable commentator if you've listened to his commentary on the highlights. So
100%. Yeah.
Just needs to be.
Yeah, they do. They need to sort it out, because that's going to get the car. That will get more eyes on it. I mean, that's the fact that we're based at Auchenhowie, I know they've got the media facilities there. They screened a lot of the games live on our TV, and they charged what, the £3.50 for them, and it must have made them money because they kept doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Broadwood doesn't have the capability when BBC Alba, Sky, BBC Scotland, whoever show up with cameras and they can set it up. So I don't see why we can't have a team of 2 or 3 people set up a camera and sit and do that. But the fact that no game at Ibrox has been streamed to RTV, but they finally done it for this game is incredible. Because I kept saying, why aren't they? Because the facility's already set up, so just do it when we've been at Ibrox. But obviously they finally cottoned on. But that almost worries me that people won't bother then because it's on RTV, so they just sit at home and watch it rather than get along to the game. But at least they're doing something. We complain about them not doing enough, so at least they're doing something now.
Yeah, 100%. So before we go, Alan, a couple of predictions from you. How are we getting on Wednesday and how are we getting on Sunday?
I think we need to win. I think we'll win 2-0 on Wednesday. I think Real Hardy make a difference, score both goals. So I think we'll do well. We'll carry that on and probably concede first on Sunday because that's what we'll do after a couple of clean sheets. But I think we'll win 7-1.
Maybe are you as confident as Alan? I'll certainly be Sunday should be a given, but let's not count our chickens. But we've got Wednesday first.
I don't see us keeping a clean sheet on Wednesday. I think it's going to be 3-1. I think they might score first. I think Kirsty will score, Mia will score, and I'm undecided between Brogan and Lizzie for the other one. And then on Sunday, I think we'll beat them 6-0.
Okay. Cara, we keep the clean sheet Wednesday?
Well, I said we keep a clean sheet last time and we didn't, and it scuppered my predictor, so I'm going to say no. But I'm going to say we're going to win 2-1 and Nick Dock's going to get the first goal because she's due a goal. She's not scored yet this season. For her to score at Ibrox against Glasgow City to start the game off well will just be a beautiful sight. Probably won't happen, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Motherwell, I don't want to go too high because it might end up being daft if it's only like 1-0 or something. But I think 3-0. I think we will keep a clean sheet in that game. And I think Mia will score first.
I don't expect a clean sheet on Wednesday because we should get a clean sheet against Motherwell. I don't think we'll get 3 in a row. However, I'm going to say 2-0 on Wednesday night, and we'll go for 5-0 on Sunday. Why not? Let's just And this actually just crossed my mind, Paul. I think you've reminded me. Will we get a penalty? I don't know. We haven't run a penalty. We haven't run a penalty for a while, Demi. So
there's not a chance we're getting a penalty. Especially
like we're not going to be in their box.
Especially no, because the game's at Ibrox. There's not a chance that they are giving us a penalty on Wednesday night.
Alan, are you as optimistic about that as Demi is? Or has she just been around me too much?
I think we've not seen that enough this season. We love those 3 words and we really not had enough chance to say that this year. I don't know. I've said Rio will score 2 goals, so why not score one from the spot?
Why not, indeed? And on that note, folks, if you're at Ibrox on Wednesday, we'll be about. Give us a shout. Or if you're not going on Sunday, we'll be about. Give us a shout. Following that, we'll see you back here next Monday night for more of this. Brian should be back in the hosting chair next Monday, so you won't need to listen to so much of me. Car, Alan, Demi, as always, thank you very much, and I'll see you all on Wednesday.